Obtaining the Platinum Trophy in Kingdom Come Deliverance required serious gallantry. As stalwart as one needs to be for such an adventure, I didn't do it easily. Having put it off for 6 years since its first release, Kingdom Come 2 is now on the horizon, so come and join me on this epic adventure through medieval Bohemia as Henry, from a humble blacksmith's apprentice all the way to a knight under Sir Radzig Kobyla. So buckle up, this one will be a tad bit longer, so get your snacks ready. The guide used in this video is from Pearson Profiles, which describes a 5 out of 10 for difficulty, can be done in one playthrough, and doable in at least 100 hours. This video will contain story spoilers, so viewer discretion is advised. So here we start our epic by being introduced to Henry, followed by minor gameplay mechanics along the way. Shortly after starting, we are rewarded with our first trophy, Blacksmith's Son, for finishing our first quest to obtain beer, a sword hill, and to collect a debt. Several hours later, riders are heard on the horizon. The Cumin arrive and reap havoc with a startling twist to this idyllic setting. As we flee, we save Teresa from the Cumins for our second trophy, Cavalier. After the dust has settled in Talmberg and briefed upon the situation of Skalitz, devastated, Henry mucks about for a while to get his bearings in the world, carrying Sir Radzig's sword at his waist. But along the way we return to Skalitz to bury our parents. However, we come into contact with a bold bastard known as Runt, where we get the kicked out of us and the sword stolen. We soon after waking up in Ratai under the tender care of Teresa's uncle, Przek the miller, is given a harsh ultimatum. However, many hours on, Lady Stephanie tasks us with a quest for wine, a horse, and to retrieve a jewel, which fosters us the trophy Casanova by courting the Lady of Talmberg. And onto the main quest, we naturally join Sir Radzig's garrison with the next trophy, Awakening, where we mention the loss of his sword. Radzig scolds him for putting his men at risk, but agrees to pay for his basic training to join his garrison. This ultimately awards us with the bronze trophy. During Bernard's training, I stuffed myself for several days for the trophy Fatso. And during the weekly tourney, I learned of a resourceful way to make money. And the night before, I robbed the tourney participants blind many times over, which allotted me over 30k groschens for the silver trophy Beef. After brawling with Capon in the tavern and keeping the peace, I get the trophy Anorectic for starving myself for 3 days. During the quest The Prey, whereby we aid Capon hunting, he gets attacked by Cumin, but I best the foes and ended up not sleeping for 2 days and 2 nights. In the process, this gave me insomniac. Seconds later, when Capon's brought back to Ratai, I get Buddy for saving Lord Capon from the Cumins. Moreover, later on in the quest Ginger and the Pickle, we are tasked with investigating a farm raid in Neuhof, whereby we track down bandits in the forest to hear of an individual known as Ginger. We ask around and track him down to a cave in the woods and get permission for him to return. This gave me the trophy Ginger.
You told me you'd teach me something useful. Aye, and I keep my word.
In arguably one of the best quests in this game, I'm searching for Lubosh in mysterious ways. In Ujits, our lead ends up at Father Godwin, a sword fighting priest who's not so priestly. However, wetting the whistle with a few beers, he loosens up after a drunken night out in the town. When the bailiff comes to apprehend him, we get Sinner by helping him fight them off. Much like courting Stephanie, we are given several quests to court Teresa. The side quest Courtship appears, and after a game of Blind Man's Buff in the barn, we are rewarded with the silver trophy McLovin. Along my adventures, we get Ranger for just walking more than 50 kilometers, pretty straightforward. And Bookworm from reading 20 books. As the greed-looting goblin I am, I hoard all my spoils at Pajek's and sell him all my stolen and foraged goodies for the trophy Scrooge for hoarding 5k groschen. Later, my guilt got to me, so I repented for my ways and spent 3 days in jail for the convict trophy. The trophy Knight Rider was awarded for winning the Talmberg horse race, started by Zora from the Neyhoff stables. This opens the quest The Sport of Kings, unlocked after completing Ginger in the Pickle. Here, I basically pushed the horses out the way because, you know, if I can cheese it, why would I not? Which does ultimately award me with Knight Rider.
Thank you, my lord. Thank you. I'll pass your message on to her.
Playing with the devil is a quest given by Father Godwin in Uchitz, and much like Sinner, it avoids getting virgin from the late night antics that usually follows the warrior priest. Here we completed Dance with the Devil that required us to consult with a witch doctor herbalist and follow a few scheming women into their forest ritual at night. After all is said and done, we're given Bad Trip followed by a hard reload.
Take care now.
In order to aid leveling up, I hunted 50 game animals during many quests, which awarded me Hunter. And as a natural occurrence along the main story questline, I killed Runt in the steeple after the raid in Pravoslavitz with the trophy Runt. And as the story progressed, we found ourselves in a side quest, Pestilence. Mojed was attacked by bandits and similarly struck by a plague. This is perhaps one of the most complicated quest lines in the game, and as it requires for many other quests to be completed in order to obtain the happy ending. Where after being informed by the bailiff, we start by investigating all infected, hop onto our trusty Rosinante and gallop all the way to Sasau to consult with the alchemist Nicodemus. We figure out the symptoms and concoct a Mojed remedy potion. We then gallop all the way back and hand him the finished products, followed by healing the rest of the inhabitants as well as the bandit stowed away in the barn, and then return 2 days later and find that it all worked out well. Here I received the silver trophy Plague Doctor. After, I needed to let off some steam, so I went to practice my combos in Upper Ratai. I found the downward slash stab stab combo was the easiest to pull off with how clunky the combat can be. I soon after got the fighter by carrying out 100 combos in combat.
No! You have to strike me 3 times. Try to catch the rhythm.
Advancing off the execution of Herman's questline, Tough Love, we start money for Old Rope. The famous Kuttenberg executioner Heinz gained the bids over him in executing 3 infamous criminals. Devises a plan to sabotage all 3 executions, which has me poisoning his tongues, replacing his rope and dulling his blade. After the cutscene, we are rewarded with Spoil Sport. In order to obtain the Master Huntsman trophy, we must complete several prerequisite missions. After the main quest Baptism of Fire and Hare Hunt that has us investigate poachers given by Nicholas, the Talmberg's huntsman, we come into contact with a dude called Hanneken Hare. The plot thickens and we end up starting a quest called Church Has La Femme, pardon my French, where we must kidnap Margaret, Nicholas's wife, and bring her to Hanneken's hideout for him to clear his name from past villainy. Forcing him to sign the documentation proving his innocence, Hanneken goes to Lord Divish and the quest ends with the happy ending. Therefore, a new position is available and Henry becomes the new Talmberg huntsman.
Good luck to you, Hanneken.
Once I arrive in Vanarik, naturally the main quest line, the Traveller trophy popped for discovering all main cities on the map. The Pilgrim trophy was an absolute pain in the arse. There's no 2 ways of pulling it. It had me run all the way around the map to shrines and considerable crosses. However, what the kicker is that you must read them. I wasted a good many hours doing that, and having to do it all again was just spiteful shit. Though I bet the person who designed that trophy had a little chuckle somewhere. Shortly after that, I starved myself and guzzled tons of beer to become addicted to alcohol for Alcoholic. Along the journey I collect 10,000 herbs, and the Sasau Herb Garden for David Horak. With all the herbs, I brewed 15 different types of potions for Edward Kelly. Hungry for some action after several days of dabbling with herbs, I go out on a wild hunt around bandit camps for Serial Killer and the Sniper Trophy. More on that shortly. However, along the way, I stealth kill 20 enemies for Stealth Killer. While straightforward, Sniper is as the name suggests. I had to get 50 headshots, which resulted in me using the bow and arrow and pelting arrows at bandit heads until they died. This was quite the ordeal to achieve because the trek was like 5 minutes apart, and then having to wait for the camps to respawn, an absolute ordeal. However, I did find the lower level bandits without the headgear easier than the high level Kumans. The quest and trophy Robber Baron is unlocked by finishing the quests Clothes Make the Man, and is given by Sir Hanish as a consequence of teaching Henry and Hans responsibility. With Bernard, they go to parley with the Wolfkin of Camberg, raiding the Rattay countryside. They track him down with the aid of a farmer's wife and go parley unarmed with Sir Bernard's colours and their encampment. It ends well, and reporting back to Sir Hanish awards me the trophy. Gambler, the bronze trophy is easily acquired by winning 1k in dice minigame.
Good game. You deserve it.
And eventually, the trophy Serial Killer is obtained from killing 200 enemies. This portion of the game is interesting, but equally frustrating in many ways. The trophy monk involves us infiltrating a monastery to find an individual named Pius, part of the quest Poverty, Chastity and Obedience. But before that, we must meet a fellow called Carl to take his place. Once we find him, we realise he has a guardian, and we get him drunk in order to devise a plan to rid him of his baggage. We steal the keys and the documentation, return to Carl, and admit ourselves to the monastery after a short cutscene. However, for whatever reason, for me personally, it crashed, so had to redo all that again. The monk quests are the frustrating part of the main story questline, but pretty sick at that a 6-year-old game had the balls to do something so daring. Though once guided around the vicinity by an apprentice monk, I quickly discover Pius's real identity. It was no other than the first person I spoke to. Bollocked doing this questline, I grew fed up and killed him that first night, which snagged me completionist, our first gold trophy for completing more than 80 plus quests. But begrudgingly I reloaded and did all the monk questline, escaped the good way and gained his dice for the main story questline. At Pajeks in Rattay I sold items to make space and got Haggler for saving 2k groschen by haggling. Anyone who has a short fuse would lose their mind with this trophy. King Charming. We are required to be popular in every town and village, which if you're like me, became confused why some count and some didn't. I found doing the DLC missions from Ashes for Privoslavitz made the trophy pop for me. For the trophy Judas, I've reloaded from an earlier save, yet found it pretty buggy in how to get the quest string to activate the bad ending of the Gallows Brother quest. Ultimately, I stole the gold from Townburg, hid it in Andrew's Inn, and grassed him up to Robard, which resulted in their unfortunate end. Bastard was achieved naturally, but somehow bugged out on me, whereby people of Ranrik, bandit camp, randomly started fighting me, so I missed on the initial cutscene that was supposed to give me the trophy. I reloaded for it to properly award me Bastard for finding out who Henry's real father is. Seeing how I was reloading more often, I looked back at some of my old saves and figured I could get the achievement Firestarter for getting jailed in Skalitz before the Kuman invasion. And back on the main story questline, we round up an army and conquer the enemy camp of Vanrik. Through plenty of quest dialogue I level up my speech to its maximum, and seconds later I reached level 20 for level cap. Townburger had me doing many quests such as fetching meat for soldiers and retrieving a master builder for the trebuchet. Only once completing all quests does it award me the bronze trophy Townburger.
God be with you.
And once the trebuchets were constructed, he gets attacked by Eric and his men in cold steel, hot blood. The attempts were squashed and Eric was captured, though Henry is tasked to interrogate him for answers. This gave me the Freud trophy for finding out about Eric's past. The Virgin trophy says all you need to know, but with the reloads from courting Stephanie and Teresa, as well as Father Guardian's quest lines, I obtained the trophy Virgin while in the last cutscene. Seconds later, and I obtained the end, completing the main storyline.
Let's get to it then. I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile. We're helping to save the king.
And last but not least, Merciful, which had me starting the game again from a save in Skalitz and playing through the entire game without killing anyone but runts in the steeple to obtain the silver trophy Merciful. Here's when I finally obtained the platinum trophy and marks the end of this 150-hour adventure.
What? Let's get to it then. I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile. We're helping to save the king. Instead of saving.
So, it's fair to say that Kingdom Come is a phenomenal game. Of all the games I've played thus far, Kingdom Come is one of a kind. From its world building to its rich medieval settings and its score, it somehow possesses a charm that garners an entirely unique experience. Though, I'd be in bad faith to not at least mention some of its flaws, such as how the combat doesn't really work as intended, even with max skills. I spent more time fighting the controls than the enemies, and horse riding through the countryside is insanely irritating when you get blocked by bushes and the like. However, this isn't a comprehensive review, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I for one enjoyed every minute of this 150-hour plus adventure. Doing the platinum ensured I played every aspect of the game in which I normally would ignore due to my normal playstyle, but with Kingdom Come 2 mucking around the corner, you'll be allowed to say I'm not hyped for what's to come next. However, if you did enjoy this video, share below your experiences with the game. What trophies did you find most enjoyable or found most irritating? How many hours did it take you? Drop a like for the algorithm, and if you're feeling charitable, maybe a cheeky subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. However, with all that said and done, I think it's time to see you guys in the next one. That's all out.